Mm, 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 Hey, hey, show me what you got, little mama. Show me what you got. Oh man, is this thing on? Hello, is this thing on? I don't. I'm probably not going to have a person pop in here. YouTube. I haven't done a video in too long, man. YouTube is not going to tell anybody that I'm live. Where are the people? But I'm going live myself, man. It's been a minute. Hey, 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 hey. Show me what you got. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, hey, hey. Let's get to it, man. We back. Oh, man. Have I been on a journey for you? You know what I'm saying? Have I been on a journey? But your boy is back. I feel like Jay-Z in 2007 when he came out with the Kingdom Come album. He was gone for a minute. I feel like I've been gone for a minute, man. But I wasn't going to leave y'all. I wasn't going to leave y'all hanging, you know. I just needed to do some things, man. Take care of some things, you know. But man, listen. Dan, good to see you, fam. You know what I'm saying? When is your Christmas album coming out? Man, I'm still trying to get people to buy the summer album, man. The Christmas album. I might have to come up with a couple of "It's Christmas Time" in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens. Rice is burning macaroni and cheese, and Santa put gifts on the Christmas trees. I might have to give him something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Melody, we never want you to feel like J-Lo. Listen, I feel more like Jello right now, but we try, we working. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like J-Lo, I feel like Jello, Melody, but let's get it. Good to be, man. It's good to be back on the scene. Listen, I got some stuff to talk about, man. I've been seeing a lot of stuff, man. I've just been seeing a lot of stuff, and I've been like, wow, it's kind of crazy going on. But I've been laying low. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Welcome to CNN. I'm your host, the underdog, Kirk Kennedy. I'm back. Let's go in. On this channel, we take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them, right? So we try to do that in a way that's not self-righteous. Having said that, man, it's good to be back, but I do want to have an honest conversation with y'all about the future of this channel. I feel like the Lord is... No, I'm just playing. I can't stand them future of this channel videos. Man, get out of here, man. You ain't that ridiculous that we got to hear a video about the future of this channel. But I do want to talk to y'all, man. Listen. So right around the time when the... right around the time when the election was... Like the... You know... I guess the election. Yeah, when the election was happening. I was kind of slowing down a little bit with YouTube. And the main reason why was because I felt like everybody was so enamored with like YouTube, the presidency and who's this. And I was just, you know, we've really gotten to a point, and I think it really started when Trump's first presidency in 2017. We really got it to a point where, at least in my lifetime, I see like whoever sits in the presidency is having a significant psychological impact on everyone, including believers. Like believers are freaking out as much as non-believers are about who. So as I was watching all of this, and I just watched a lot of just content, started to focus on politics and really pointing out like this and that and exposing people. I'm watching people talk about, man, if you vote this way, you should go on the church discipline, all that type of stuff. So I was just like, you know what, man, I'm kind of need a break from YouTube. I'm just getting tired of YouTube. And it's not YouTube's fault, but I'm just, you know, sometimes I got other things to focus on. It's real in the field, right? I got a life, I got responsibilities, I lead a church, I got a lot going on. I'm writing 2 books. I mean, it's a lot going on, right? So I was like, let me step back, and I was just watching what was going on YouTube. And there were times I wanted to make a video here and there. And then people would hit me like, hey, you doing okay? We miss you. And I appreciate that. Thank you, first and foremost, for the people that hit me and was like, we miss you. So I was like, yeah, I've been gone for a minute, lost some subscribers. So now I got to build my following back up. I got to let the YouTube algorithm know that I'm back so they can let people know and hopefully build that up. But either way, I just needed to take a break. And I usually, not because I'm like stressed out or overwhelmed, just because I just felt like it was just dumb. Like a lot of stuff that was happening, a lot of the content. I mean, and I just think, you know what it was? When you step back from like YouTube, like it's not like I have the biggest platform, but I got, I put in a little bit of work on this platform. When you step back and you just don't post and you're not like looking for things to talk about, and so you're not posting, you're just watching what people do, you see a lot of stuff. You see a lot, and you just realize like how I'm going to just say it like this. You realize how, and I get that people have a platform on YouTube and they make money, but you just realize how pressed people are to try to like really get engagement. And it is. There's a lot of people out here, a lot of engagement. People have attention spans for YouTube all day. But as I'm watching this, I'm realizing there's so many people pressed to get engagement, and especially Christian content creators. So I was going to make videos, but I was like, you know what, man, let me just sit back. Let me fall back and just watch and see what's happening. And I feel like in the month or so that I haven't really been posting, I feel like I'm watching stuff I got friends, I got a text like, bro, what is going on with you, fam? Like, what's happening right now? What is all this going arguing online, going back? It's just a lot of wild stuff. So let me tell y'all one of the things that I've seen that I just thought. And some people ask me to talk about this, and some of you, this may not be your world, so I get that this particular point might not matter to you. All right, so Kendrick Lamar drops an album called GNX, and I heard the album. I still listen to hip-hop. Some people go, you should listen to it. You know what? Not everyone is immature enough to react a certain way just because they hear something or watch a movie or whatever. Obviously, there are things that I'm not going to watch based on what they say and do. But so Kendrick Lamar drops this album called GNX, all right? And, I thought the album was okay. I didn't think it was incredible. I thought it was a good sneak attack for Kendrick Lamar because his albums are usually very deep, and you got to pay attention. It's like his albums are like Inception. Like I think he's created a genre of music called Inception music. You know the movie Inception, where it was like a dream within a dream within a dream. You 3 levels deep and don't know you're in a dream, right? Except the people who know that. Kendrick Lamar kind of has like Inception music, where it's just levels deep. He says this, but it actually means 3 other things, right? So he drops an album that actually is pretty basic in terms of it's a good project, especially if you like Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people raved about it. But there was one song and a verse on one of the songs that he had called Reincarnated. And this song, I started watching mainly Christian content creators. I watched maybe 5 of these videos, and they all were basically saying the same thing, at least the ones that I saw. And there was basically this sense from Kendrick Lamar and the satanic gospel in this song Reincarnated. Now, if I was in the mood, I'd pull up the lyrics and go through all of it. But I'm really not in the mood. This is my first video posting back in a while. I'm just going to tell you, if humor me for a second, all right? So I had people hitting me like, hey, you're going to do a video on this? I'd love to hear what you thought. This Christian content creator said this. I want to know what you think. So I'm going to give you, in a short detail, what I think. So in this particular song, Reincarnated, Kendrick Lamar, in the first 2 verses, there's 3 verses in the song. In the first 2 verses, he raps like he's someone else, right? And he's rapping about the first person is a singer who dies of who manipulates people, does a lot of evil stuff. The second person he raps about is a woman. People think it's Billie Holiday, where she's overdosing on drugs. She dies with heroin needles in her arms. And then the third verse, he raps, and it kind of it weaves into this. You realize, oh, he's having a conversation with God, right? But in the verse, he sounds like it's God and him talking, and he's saying, I tried to do best, I'm trying to do good, and God said, no, you're actually not, you're influencing people the wrong way. And he's going back and forth with God. And then he throws in Isaiah 14, and it's like, wait a minute, what's he talking about? And then you get to the end, and he says this line, I rewrote the devil's story just to take our power back. God made it, right? I've seen at least 5 Christian content creators all make videos like Kendrick Lamar is not a satanic gospel and all this stuff. And so I watched them and I just thought, I think most of these people are doing this for just views, man. And I get it because it's YouTube. We want, and if your bread and butter comes from YouTube, you need those clicks and those likes. You need that engagement. And so I watched about 5 of these, and they all pretty much came to the same conclusion. There was one that was a little different. And I was like, really? So I guess here's the thing. If you think Kendrick Lamar is a Christian, then I get it. Because a lot of these channels are trying to prove, look at what he says right here. He's not a Christian. He's not a Christian. And I guess I just don't think he's a Christian. I've never thought that. So from my vantage point, I don't think of that Kendrick Lamar is a believer genuinely. And I don't care if people are like, you don't know that. I don't know that, but that doesn't, I have to think he is because he says a couple of things in his music, right? Here and there. Jesus said, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. So I don't know where his heart is, but the lip stuff is not impressive. So I don't think he's a Christian. So I didn't listen to this song and this verse to really justify his faith. Like, I'm not listening to Kendrick Lamar's music to test his theology. But I get that a lot of Christians do, and I think this is the challenge with Christians. Like, a lot of us, we get excited when celebrities even come close to professing to be a believer, because if we're being honest, and I try to be honest, the honesty's back. You know what I'm saying? The honesty's back, right? I think a lot of us, we don't think even our own faith and being a Christian is like cool. We're not really proud about it, nothing. So when someone famous even pretends to quote, if they say, hey, I want to thank my Lord Jesus Christ, everyone flips out like, oh my gosh, they're a Christian. And we're not really, it's not that we care that person is saved. We often care that they validate what we believe. They validate our faith, The only person that I thought demonstrated Christianity in recent years that was a celebrity for a period was Kanye West. I think he initially demonstrated that he believed in Jesus, right? Initially. But then eventually, when you hear him in interviews, I was like, and then it became what it is now, right? So I've never thought Kendrick Lamar is a Christian. I think we should just stop being excited. I get that when heaven rejoices when one sinner repents, but I don't know if we're excited because someone repented. I think we're often excited because we think this person will make our faith more cool and maybe we'll be more accepted. And it's like, I'm glad to be a believer. I'm proud to be. It's an honor to be a believer. It's an honor. It's an honor to think that the God of the universe who created all things, man, this is a separate video. I'm not going to say what I'm about to say. I'll say this. It's an honor for the God of the universe to become a human being, to live a certain way, to glorify the Lord, to die as a punishment, and then to give faith and to people who believe in that and who trust that. He told Thomas, who was one of the disciples, you believe because you see, blessed are those who do not see and believe. I'm not ashamed to be a believer. It's an honor. It's an honor because I don't deserve to be a believer. So I'm not ashamed of it, but I know some people find themselves that way. Right? So when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, I never thought he was a Christian, but I was watching this content, watching people go back and forth and dissecting the song and like listen to what he's saying. He's Satan and he's trying to reclaim and talk about he's Satan and listen to this theology. And I just think he's not really righteous. He's not. Here's the reality. Let me just take 7 more minutes. And let me just kind of put this to bed. Whether he's a Christian or not is really incidental. That's not the real issue. Most people are saying he's not, and they're trying to expose him because they're trying to prove that he's not to their friends or whatever. Here's the reality, right? From the beginning of our understanding of Kendrick Lamar's career, from Good Kid, Mad City, to The Pimp a Butterfly, to Damn, to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and now to GNX, Kendrick Lamar has always had, similar to Tupac and similar to DMX, different ways, but he's always had some spiritual themes in his music. Like that's just the way he gets down. Whether he's a genuine Christian or not, that's not the point. Because I'm not evaluating that. The Lord knows, he knows. I don't think he's a believer, but that doesn't matter. The reality is his music in his mind and in his presentation has always had a degree of Christianity to it. So in Good Kid, Mad City, these old ladies lead him and some of his friends in the prayer of faith, and he prays that prayer. And the whole premise of the album is, I'm a good kid in a mad city. I'm a good kid that's being corrupted by this mad city to be evil, right? That's the whole dichotomy. And then he comes out with The Pimp a Butterfly, and he has this Lucy, and he's talking basically about that whole album is the way Lucifer works through the capitalistic means, right, of American society where money is everything, and he's battling, giving in, and sometimes failing to give in to the hyper materialism of the American way that he calls Lucifer, right? So that's the whole premise of the album, right? Then we get to Damn, and then on Damn, he pretty much, identifies himself as, some people said, a Christian. It was really more Black Hebrew Israelites, and he had, I think his cousin was on the album explaining these things. So he's always had this theme. And then you get Mr. Morale and the Black Steppers, right? The Big Steppers. And in that album, he's dealing with a lot of the things that he's done. Sins against the mother of his children, all these different things. He's talking about his personal family life. Like, he basically gave you a therapeutic album. And within that album, it has like wisdom and knowledge that sounds spiritual. He's wearing a crown of thorn. This has always been Kendrick Lamar's reality, right? Then he gets into this feud with Drake, and he comes off as, I'm the more righteous one, Drake is not, right? Then that happens. And then after that feud dies down, he pretty much demolished Drake and seemingly ended Drake's career, at least for the foreseeable future. Then he drops a song called basically Watch the Party Die. He released it on YouTube. It was the song with the black Nike Air Force Ones kind of wrinkled up on the front. And in this song, he's addressing what appears to be the music industry, namely all the people that Drake and what other people represent. And he's basically saying it's time to watch the party die. And the party is giving off a very materialistic, negative, sinful vibe to the Black community that's teaching the youth to admire and love these things. And he's basically saying in that song, I'm coming after the record industry because I feel like I'm the one that needs to, bring his level of righteousness to the record industry, right? So and then in that song, he mentions Lecrae. Sometimes I wonder what Lecrae would do. He wonders what D1, who's another well-known Christian rap artist, would do. So it's like, oh man, so Kendrick Lamar has always thought about this, right? So if you listen to this song, Reincarnated, separate from all of the things that he led to get here, you will completely misunderstand the song. Kendrick Lamar is not trying to, his theology in the song is not Christian. He's not trying to say he's Christian. Kendrick Lamar's, his spirituality, the way he processes Christianity is something different. You have to understand that. I don't think he's a believer at all. But I hope he becomes one for his sake. But in this song, right, if you don't understand that, and even in his first song video, Squabble Up, he starts off, he says the word reincarnated. So this idea of being reincarnated is spread throughout the album. So when you get to the song Reincarnated, it takes a Tupac beat from a movie, a soundtrack of a movie, and it's the song is called Made Men from Tupac. He takes the instrumental and he flips it. And in the third verse, he's going back and forth. Now, all the Christian content creators that I saw, here's the problem I have with their conclusions. None of them tried to answer the question when Kendrick Lamar said, I rewrote the devil's story just to take our power back. Carnated. None of them said, well, what do you think he means by saying that? And none of them thought about Watch the Party Die, that song, and then the sort of Kendrick's theme. They were just trying to prove he's not a Christian. And it's like, fam, okay, good. You got it. But if you're trying to understand what he's getting at, I think we got to be a little bit more intellectually honest here, right? Here's the reality. Kendrick Lamar, I think this is what I think he's doing in that song. I don't think it was about being a Christian at all. I think Kendrick Lamar has always dealt with the satanic influence over him and over the music industry, over Compton. He's always dealt with that reality. He's always been the good kid, Mad City on one level in his mind. He's always dealt with the reality that there's evil and I'm drawn to it, but I'm trying to be righteous because I want to believe in God, but I also will smack the skin off of a dude, but I'm also no. He's always battling this, right? So when you get to that verse and he's going back and forth, he makes a switch in the song where you realize, oh, he's rapping from the perspective of Satan and God. This is what I think Kendrick Lamar is doing in the nutshell. Long story short, here's what he's doing. Kendrick Lamar, the reason why I think he said, I rewrote the devil's story to take the power back, he wasn't trying to give the devil make God look like God was the evil one and Satan was the good one and Satan's being compassionate. He's interjecting himself and Satan back and forth. It's kind of like in the Bible, right? This is what I think he's doing. And again, I don't know the dude. I can't call him like, hey, K-Dot, is this right? But this is what I think he's doing. I think he's using a technique that God does in the Bible. In the scriptures, right, this will happen a few times. They call it the principle of double interpretation. In the scriptures, this is what will happen. God will talk to, in Genesis 3, in Genesis 3:14, he talks to the actual serpent, the beast, the crafty beast, right? And then he talks to Satan. So he goes from one to the next. He doesn't say, he says to the serpent, and because you've done this, cursed above you above all livestock on the ground. He's obviously not talking to Satan because Satan's not a livestock, right? So he's talking to the actual serpent. But then in verse 3:15, he says, and this woman will give birth to a seed. I will put enmity between you and the woman. He goes, right now I'm talking to the spiritual entity behind that. In Ezekiel 28, I believe it's the same thing. The king of Tyre, he's talking to the king of Tyre, but he's also talking to the spiritual entity. So it's kind of going back and forth. You don't know that unless you read into it and understand, like, oh, well, how could this be a regular king if he's a guardian cherub, if he was created and not born? Like, human beings are born, not created, right? So you realize he's talking to Satan, and you're getting a picture of what happened to Satan, and potentially Isaiah 14, portions of that do the same thing. This is what Kendrick, I think, is doing. He's going back and forth talking to both the devil and himself, and having been one who was influenced by the devil, he's speaking on behalf of the devil, trying to say he's doing good, trying to do good, and God's saying, yeah, but you're not doing enough, you're not doing this. Now, his theology on what God would think, that's not the point. The point is what he's trying to do is say, you know what? I'm trying to be reincarnated from the evil that I've gotten from Satan. From the Satan that's in me, I'm trying to be reincarnated and to take the power back. He's not rewriting the devil's story, making him a positive figure. He's rewriting the devil's story to say all the influence that the devil has put on me and the black community and the music industry, I'm taking that back. I'm trying to go after the music industry and do it. Now, he's not a believer, so he's not going to go preach the gospel to these people. I don't think he will. But this is what Kendrick Lamar is talking about. My fellow Christian commentators, please stop. Please stop trying to prove that he's not a Christian based upon your perspective. Because maybe you have people that think he's a believer. That's not even the point. Let's just be clear. This is for clicks and likes, and this is why we're saying these things. We don't know what he really believes. We only can go by what we see. We don't know what he does behind the scenes. But in his music, he's artistic, but he leaves a lot of breadcrumbs. I think he rewrote the devil's story to take the power back because he's thinking still of the watch the party die. I'm rewriting the devil's story, the evil that he did, right? I'm going to rewrite it and try to undo even the ways that I've been evil and the evil that's happened through the music industry on the black community. That was his main problem with why he hated Drake. It's like, you done it. This is what I think is happening there. So pardon me, my fellow Christian content creators, I think y'all are tripping. I don't think it's that serious, and I don't think you got to do a whole video to prove Kendrick Lamar is not that. All right, let's keep going. I just heard about this. So Trump is going to pardon all the January 6th rioters. I don't know how many people that is. I laughed when I heard this for a couple of reasons. One, because I think it's a gangster move just on general principle, right? I think it's just a crazy move on general principle. But then I just thought, as I'm hearing Trump, so he's doing that, as I'm hearing him say he thinks the people who litigated him should be arrested, and he's looking into that. You got the FBI, head of the FBI, going to resign at the end of the year when Biden administration leaves, he's leaving. You got all these people dropping out afraid and all of this. And I just thought, wow. And keep in mind that there's a lot of professing Christians that voted Democrat as well. But I think the narrative is that even white evangelicals in particular, even though there's some black people like, no, I voted for Trump too, I don't fit the narrative, right? There's a sense that the church is the one promoting him and keeping him in power. Then when he got shot in the ear, the first assassination, people were like, oh man, there was some guy that said the Lord told him that he was going to get shot and become a wild, on fire for the Lord Christian right after that. And maybe that's going to happen. What I'm seeing is, and one of the reasons why I laughed is, this is what I think. I always think about this right here. This verse guides how I process a lot of things. Because I think the Lord, I always think, all right, Lord, what's the unfruitful works of darkness that you're exposing? And I always believe that because judgment begins in the household of God, that God is going to expose, and oftentimes his people, right? He exposes his people. So you got these big name pastors being exposed. You got all these things along with celebrities, right? I think he exposes the world to show us to stop idolizing the world, and he exposes like Christians to show us that we need to be serious about our faith, right? Just because you have a big platform doesn't mean you have big faith, right? So when I watch this, I think, let me be clear, I think Kamala Harris would have been a terrible president. So I'm not in any way mad she didn't make it. I just think, I wish believers would call on the name of the Lord and he would raise up a judge that we could see, just like he did in the Old Testament. I don't trust the left or the right at all. I can't even throw people that far anymore, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. I just don't trust any of them. But it's amazing to me to watch how believers put so much hope because they think that Christianity is about morality. It's about morality, and it's not. And let me tell you what I mean by this. Let me explain why I'm saying this. This is what I think. Trump pardoning these people and doing this stuff, I think, is indicative of 4 years of I think it's going to be chaos the next 4 years. And I think conservatives, Christians, they're so focused on the Democrats that they're going to miss all the stuff that's happening and the witness, the terrible witness of that endorsement. I'm not saying that you should have not voted for him. I'm talking about the endorsement, not the vote. That's two different things. I think what's going to happen is he's going to wild out. And I think he's going to put many Christians to shame by his character. And I think God's going to do that so that believers can stop idolizing these people and thinking that whoever controls politics controls our future and protects us. It's like, no, the Lord protects us. The Lord protects us. This doesn't matter who sits in the White House. Nothing. When Jesus said in Matthew 6, the Father knows every hair on your head. Right? Like he knows all of it. He said, if God provides for the birds, why wouldn't he provide for you? Like, don't get me wrong. We live in America and I get it and this is that. But the Lord said, I protect my people. I will never leave or forsake you. And I think so many believers on both sides, but on the right I'm talking about, have ceded their godliness for morality. And let me explain what I mean by that. We're all made in the image of God. And so morality is something that all people have. It's just intrinsic. Like we didn't lose the desire to do some good things. We lost the ability to earn heaven by those good things. But it's like, I don't care if you're a Calvinist or not, and you think the total depravity doesn't mean no one does good. And you can read Romans 3, but you have to also say, well, yeah, that's true. No one does good. But God is speaking from his perspective. He's not speaking from our perspective. From God's perspective, no one can do any good that can glorify him enough that he could not send his son to live perfectly. In that sense, no one does any good. But there are people, even in the Old Testament, people found favor with God, right? There were definitely more people who loved God than just Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? There's always been that. Like, morality is something given to humanity because we're made in the likeness of God. You cannot have God's likeness and not have any attributes that are good and moral. That's why non-Christians want to still be good, productive people in society. Godliness is something different. Godliness is not morality. Godliness is about motive. Like religion And being a good, that's about morality. Godliness has the word God in it, right? So your motive is, I'm doing this specifically because I want to please God. I mean, find any credible verse in the Bible where Jesus said, I came to be a good person. Well, I came to do good. No, Jesus said, I came to do the will of the Father. I only do what I see my Father doing. I came to do the will of him who sent me. I always do what pleases the Father. And this is the missing aspect of modern American evangelicalism. We're not doing the will of the Father. We're doing the will of Satan because it's about morality. We think it's about morality and stopping evil in the world, and we're ignoring evil in our hearts, right? Godliness is a motive. My desire, I'm making this decision. I'm talking like this. I'm acting like this. I'm going to this place. I'm giving. I'm doing this because I want to please the Father. I want to please God. I want to imitate Jesus, right? This is Jesus. Like, everyone's about what would Jesus do? Remember that? What about what did Jesus desire? Like, where is that at, right? So I think what we're missing is you just don't have the desire of Jesus. And when you don't, then whatever you do is it's morality. If it's not motivated by I want to please the Father, I'm not saying that the Lord won't reward us and he knows all of that. We're not going to always do it perfectly. But I think so much modern American Christianity is morality that this is why people are getting confused. This is the real reason why people are walking away from the faith. Because if Christianity is about morality, well, these people Islam, they're more disciplined. They're more morally disciplined. These people, atheists, actually have a better community. They do. LGBT community, they have better, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're knocking on the door. When you make Christianity about morality, about doing good and being a good person, you miss the point. Everyone does that on a one level because we're made in God's image, humanity. Christians aren't made in God's image. Everyone is, right? Why do you think there's so many religions in the world? If people just were like evil at the core, why are there so many religions? Why does Satan, 2 Corinthians 11, appear as an angel of light, right? Because he has to appear according to the parameters in which God gave. He has to appear as an angel of righteousness, doing good works, morality. So Satan does not want to have World War III all over the place. He wants to have morality that doesn't worship the Messiah. He does not want your and my desire to please God to be that. Remember what 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, and many verses. So whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do all to the glory of God. Here's what's wrong with modern day Christianity from my perspective. There's a lot of things, but here's from my perspective. One of them is we've forgotten that desire and motive is what Jesus is after. That's why it says, love the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul. Like, that means I want your desires. I don't want your good works. I want your desires, because when I have your desires, I have everything else. And that's what's wrong with modern day Christianity. We don't even think about, like, what did Jesus desire? What did Jesus say, right? We're still talking about what the gospel is and limiting the gospel. That's a whole, I was about to say something, but I'm not. That's a separate video about they lied to us about the gospel. That's coming soon. Yes, I'm coming back. I'm not missing no more day. I'm back. But I'm saying this to say this. I think we're so caught up that most conservative Christians, many, will look at what Trump's doing and champion it and think like, yes, because when you think it's about morality, to be honest, I'm going to be honest. When it's about morality, Republicans, I think, have more morality than Democrats. Maybe not in everything, in every policy, but there are some things that the left would do that just from a morality perspective is so immoral that if you're just evaluating based off of morality, you got to tip your hat to the Republicans. You got to give it to the conservatives. They have better morality, not in every policy, but in some big areas. Oof. But when you're talking about godliness, my desire is to do the will of him who sent me. I'm doing this because I want to please God. Please don't pee on me and tell me it's raining and that you think Trump is a Christian then, and that he's doing these things because he wants to honor the Lord. And I think the Lord's going to expose that. And Christians are going to feel dumb in 2 years, I think. The people who, they're going to feel dumb because they're going to realize he's saying and doing stuff you can't endorse. But if you think, but we got the moral high ground, then you're going to miss it. My brothers and sisters, practice discernment, right? When it said, look, Hebrews 5:14 said, but solid foods for the mature, for those who have their powers of discernment, trained by constant to distinguish good from evil, not left versus right or Democrat versus right politics. No, it's good from evil. You have to be able to distinguish good from evil in a biblical way. And some of the things that people think are good are just evil. It's evil. But because you think it's about morality, it's all morality, no Messiah. That's what Satan's after. So I'm just watching all this being like, wow, bro, this is crazy. Let me stay away from here. So now about the future of this channel. Man, it's good to talk to y'all again, man. I got a lot to say. I'm really holding back because I have too much to talk about. So I just thought, let me just jump on here. It's been a minute. Let me jump on here and just say a couple of things. Let y'all know that, I'm back. Thank you for those of you who have been praying for me. I haven't had any major problems. Nothing's been wrong. I'm good. My life, but the Lord has been kind. My church is flourishing. My boys are doing good. I'm good. There's been no problem. I haven't been gone because I'm depressed or nothing like that. I just been busy, and I just thought, I just don't like what I'm seeing on YouTube. And I just thought, let me just step back for a minute. I got a lot I'm doing anyway, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But there's a lot I want to talk about. There's a lot. And so I'm looking forward to, I got content for days. And so I needed this. I mean, I didn't need it, but taking this little break kind of freshened me up. I feel refreshed. I feel good because I know that there's a God somewhere. There's a God somewhere. Can I get an amen? This is the type of stuff I see all the time. This is it. It's that coming to America theology, boy. People are just wilding right now. And I'm not saying it self-righteously. I mean, we all have weaknesses, but I think it is pretty devastating when you watch this play out. And I'm talking about the church. I don't expect the world. I'm not a post-millennialist. So I don't expect the world to really submit to the Lord and then he'll come back. I don't see that in scripture anywhere. So I'm not post-mill. I just think, no, it's going to be wild. It's going to get wild. Satan is active. Witchcraft is on the rise, even among believers. But that's a whole different, we're going to have that conversation, but that's a whole different conversation. But anyway, I just want to say I'm back, man. It's good to see y'all. I just want to drop a little line and say what's up. Let me see what's in the chat. It might be. Let me see what's in the chat. Let me see what's up. I ain't really trying to be on this too long. But I thought, man, let me see what's going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Jayla, I got that. Appreciate that. Prayers, God bless you. We need a break from all this stuff. Helps your spirit be lighter. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's always wise to watch what we watch or listen to. I get it. I'm with you. Kurt, welcome back. And bro, you undersold the JFK project. I've been jamming. I might make a dance video off of you. Went from selling kilos to low key. You know about that, Joe? That's that POV, boy. Yeah, what he's talking about, let me make sure y'all understand. He's talking about this right here. Go pick this up, the JFK project. You can get this from anywhere that you get your music from. JFK project is there. Go pick that up. You got to type in J.F.K. But this joint is crazy. This is a good project. And it's not just because I'm featured on it, but it's just unique. It's different than what you'll hear in modern music today, particularly if you like rap. So let's be clear. If you like rap, you're not going to hear an album today, right now, like JFK. It's just, you won't find anything in the world or in the church that has an album like this. Not a couple songs, but an album. So I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Jane, thank you. Happy I'm back. It's good to be back. Believers in hope. Blessing and hello to everyone. There we go. Pastor Kennedy, you bring a smile up our face. Keep the glow. Looks good. Real, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, since God can't prove that he himself was not created by a more powerful hidden God, there is no reason to obey God unless God can prove he was not created. Or am I wrong? Yep, you're wrong. Because you can't prove, because like your argument works against you in this way. I'm not saying this to be self-righteous. I'm saying this to be legitimate. Because you can't prove that God was created by a more powerful being. There's no one attesting to that. Even Satanism is not saying they created God before the foundation of the world. So there's no one attesting to this. So that's just a philosophical argument that no one's even making, that I'm aware of. No credible person is saying that. So to take the logic of your own argument, because you can't prove that he wasn't created by a more powerful being, then until that happens, you should obey him. You should obey him. So, but I hear you though. You know how it is. Lyrically outspoken, grace and peace. Boom. I see you, famo. I love the picture, man. You got that. You look like a couple of super villains or something. I bang with it though. I like that. I like that joint. Jose. My dude, appreciate you, Jose. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, everything's good, man. I was just chilling, man. I was just chilling, but I'm back now. It's festive. It's time to get it in, right? Above all, trust in God and do good. Well said. But I hope that don't just do good. Do it because you want to glorify God. Make your desires there. Wow, awesome. Godliness about motive. Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a difference. I tell people all the time, what makes what makes your actions Christian? Like, what makes it different than you? Like, why is when you knock on the door, it's different than when Jehovah's Witnesses do it? Or why when Muslims pray 5 times a day? I know some Christians that don't do that a day. Why aren't they pray? Oh, because it's not to Jesus? Okay, cool. It's not to one, but it's because believers should be doing these things because we want to honor the Lord. That's the difference. Like, think about this. Let's be clear, right? And I love the Bible, so please don't say, oh, look, you're a heretic. But let's be clear. The fruits of the Spirit are not exclusive to Christianity. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentle, self-control, right? None of those things, the definition of love, you know that thing gets read at plenty of non-Christian marriages? Love is patient, it's kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not rude, it does not keep a record of wrongs, it believes because those attributes are not exclusive to Christianity. You know why they're the fruits of the Spirit? Because God wants people who believe in him to so desire those things that they don't do them just because it's part of their personality, right? They do them because they want to please God. That's the whole point. The fruits of the Spirit are not exclusive. There are a lot of people who have joy. I know a lot of non-Christians that are faithful to what they do. They love their families. That's not exclusive to us. What's exclusive is we're doing it motivated by the Spirit in us to please the Father. That's the whole point. If it's not that, it's morality. It's just morality. And people just do a bunch of stuff. Jesus said these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Remember the guy who walked up that said, what are the greatest commandments? And Jesus said, love the Lord with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, you're right, teacher. Those are the greatest commandments. You're right. And Jesus said, you're not far from the kingdom. That dude agreed with everything. He was probably a moral person. Remember the rich young ruler? He said, he said, what must I do to be saved? He said, honor your mother and father, do this. Don't lie, don't make it. He said, all these I've done from my youth. Jesus didn't say, he didn't say, no, you haven't. You haven't done these from your youth. No, you haven't. No one's done these from the youth. He said he looked at him and he loved him and he said, one thing you lack. Go and sell all your possessions and give to the poor. See, he had morality, but it wasn't out of desire to glorify God, right? So Jesus said, all right, I'll give it to you. You're a good person. You've done some good things. You got morality. But here's what you don't have, a desire to glorify me. So here's how you do it. Sell all your treasures and I'll give you treasures in heaven. Follow me. And he couldn't do it. So morality is what people think Christianity is, but godliness is what it is. God's after this. And this is why a lot of people are going to stand before God and not give an account. Let me say this one last, just an example, right? When you look at Matthew 25, Jesus, these were his words. He talks about the final judgment, right? Separates the sheep and the goat. And he says, what's the criteria? He said, to the sheep, go to the kingdom prepared for you by the Father, because when I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. You visited me in prison. When I was hungry, you gave me that. And that was so normal for those people to do that. It was so normal that they were like, Lord, when did we do that? And he said, well, you did it for the least of these, right? That was just normal. That was just normal living for them. They were just honoring the Lord. So they didn't even think that mattered to the Lord. They just wanted to honor the Lord. And then the other side to the ghost, he said, you didn't do these things. You didn't do me that. And they said, Lord, when did we see you to do these things? These people didn't think those things were that serious enough to honor the Lord. They weren't focused. So he said, you didn't even care enough to do these simple things. I'm telling you, man, it's morality over godliness. That's the real war. It's not Satanism versus Christianity. It's not the liberals versus the Democrats. For the Christians, it's morality versus godliness, I think. I think that's where we're headed. So, Yeah, maybe he was elected to expose the idolization of him as well as the bitterness in the heart toward him. I'm sure all that's coming. I'm sure all of that's coming. I'm sure all of that's coming. We missed you. We know he has your back. 100% the Lord is good. Thank you. Yes, brother, I agree. I think Trump is a Trojan horse in a sense to make his Christian. I think so. Oh, man. I mean, I could be wrong, right? Listen. I could be wrong. But I think in 2 years, if I'm on YouTube and you're watching me, we're going to be like, remember what we said 2 years ago. Remember that, right? We're just going to be there. Amen. Motivated by the Spirit. Amen. Just because no one attests to a hidden God doesn't mean it's not true. Everyone, follow Jesus if you want and disagree with Jesus if you want. I ain't tell you to do that. You came on my channel, right? I'm telling you, since you can't prove your point, then you should follow the Lord. At least the Lord reveals himself. At least give the Lord a shot and see if you can prove he reveals himself. But you follow Jesus if you want. Listen, bro, ma'am, I don't know who you are, Julian. Listen, do what you do, man. Listen, if you want to talk about how to follow Jesus, cool. If you don't, that's on you, man. Like I understand. The Lord, listen, the Lord doesn't force people to follow him. I'm not trying to force you to do nothing. I'm just pushing back against the logic that you presented to me. So it's not, we can do this dance all day. The reality is you believe or you don't. That's not new. It's not new on this channel. It won't be new in the chat, and it won't be new in society. It's up to you. I think there's credible evidence, even scientific evidence, that shows that that the proof of the God exists is real. But that's a different conversation. But listen, I just wanted to come in and say what's up, and even that's still 45 minutes. That's because I'm just talking to you on the video. But I appreciate y'all. I'm back. I got content. I got stuff to say, and we're going to say it. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for riding with me. We'll see y'all probably tomorrow. Grace and peace. All right?